What up, geniuses? My cat is especially cute tonight, so I hope that you enjoy seeing him. Here's a close-up. Hi, Wolfie. Trust me, he's cute. Um, this video is zero point 0.4. It's about brainstorming for your college application essay, and the objective is students will be able to find a good story to use for the college application essay. I'm saying story instead of topic because it's really a story that you're looking for. You want to tell a story that shows the best side of you, or one of the best sides or aspects of you. And it's hard to find just the right story, so don't be too anxious about it. Believe that there is a good story for you, okay? It will surface in this process. I use the analogy of panning for gold in the kitchen sink. It's true. It's like when you're looking for something, I don't know if you've ever gone like agate hunting maybe, or maybe you lost something and you're looking really hard for it. Just when you think it's gone or you'll never be able to find one, that's when you find it, right? So try to not stress too much and just go with the process. All right, so for some brainstorming. Oops, I got to show you my favorite little one over here, the Savage Chickens one. So what is a good story for my college application essay? That is the question that you want to be thinking. We don't want you to be writing and writing and writing and writing and, be spending all that time and not really writing something that's going to work well. Like good old SpongeBob there. So we want you to, and I guess when I say we, I mean I want you to really spend a lot of time thinking of a good story first and then start writing. So that's what we're going to do. That's what all of lesson 4 is about, 0.4. It's all about finding a good story, doing lots of brainstorming, lots of sharing with other people, and coming up with that one good story to tell about yourself. Brainstorming is probably something you've heard about before, right? I want to just tell you why we use it. It's worth doing. Okay, here's my 2 cents on it. First of all, brainstorming is a gathering of ideas from your brain onto paper. That's all it is. And right now, before you actually start putting your pen to paper, you may not have a ton of ideas. You may have a couple, but what you'll find from forcing yourself to start writing about them is that there's a lot more going on in there than you ever realized. It's called the subconscious, or just memories that have been sort of not connected to other neurons, and the paths have sort of been forgotten. But there's so much in your brain that you don't know about. So it's kind of exciting, I think, to get brainstorming. The variety of ideas and the use of your imagination assist you in producing a lot of material with which to work. So in this first brainstorming activity, I'm going to be asking you a lot of questions. And as you trigger these different thoughts and ideas and memories, you'll find that you're going to get a lot of stuff coming out that you maybe hadn't even thought of before. It's a good way to collect your thoughts all together too. So you've got all of your thoughts in one place, and that way later on you can revisit. And when I say later on, I mean like the next lesson. You can kind of revisit these ideas and say, which one's the best? And sometimes people totally change from one to the other at one point. But it's a nice way to start collecting these ideas so that you have them to choose from later. It's also a good way to start the flow of ideas because you're coming from a place of non-judgment. In fact, all ideas are good at this point. That's how I want you to think about it. Everything that comes into your brain is a good idea. You just put it down on paper, okay? Nobody's going to be judging what you wrote on paper for this brainstorming activity, okay? It's just about getting a lot of ideas down so that you can find a good one. There are different ways to brainstorm. We're going to mostly be using free writing and some listing in this brainstorming activity, okay? So what I want you guys to do now is to get started with the brainstorming. And if you want to stay here with me, I will go through the brainstorming with you and just kind of clarify all the questions that I'm asking, but you certainly don't have to. So you can go off on your own now and do your brainstorming, okay? Good luck as you work. For those of you who stayed, let me show you the brainstorming. And this is in your packet. It's 0.4. I got to figure out how to get out of my slideshow. There we go. So the questions are here. The very first one is list 5 topics that are unique to you, things that you think are unlikely to have happened to anyone else, or aspects about yourself that are special to you. So this might be hard for you to think about right off the top of your head. Let me give you some suggestions. One, think about first of all, the traditional college student. What does the traditional college student, these other 6,999 applicants who are applying for the college, to the college you want to go to, that your college admissions board is reading, what are some things that they probably haven't experienced that you have experienced? When I was writing my college application essay, I was super clueless because I grew up in Minnetonka. And so it was just kind of assumed that everybody went to college, even though like I didn't know how you went about doing that. And so I assumed I was going to college, but no one in my family ever had. And I didn't really know what a college application essay was. I wrote some creative piece because I was taking a creative writing class at my high school about some girl living in the woods. And like it had nothing to do with me. Like I was never writing about me personally. It was just this fictitious, they must have just thought I was some crazy girl. But anyway, needless to say, I did not get into my top choices, and ended up going the public University of Wisconsin route before I got into the University of Minnesota Twin Cities. But that's all right. That was my journey. Anyway, I'm here to try to make your journey a little bit better. So think about these topics. What are these 5 topics that are unique to you? Things that you think are unlikely to have happened to anyone else. So if I were to talk to the Michelle of 1991, I would say, oh my gosh, you have so many good things you could write about. You could write about the fact that you have grown up with your oldest brother who has severe cerebral palsy, and that you've helped take care of him all of these years. That would have made a great college application essay if only I would have known. Other things that are different from other people. I was raised in a really strict, fundamentalist, Baptist, evangelical kind of family situation. And my mom got sort of more and more into the religion as I grew older, and like stopped letting me trick or treat when, and things like that, because like Halloween was evil, and we didn't have a Christmas tree because that was too pagan, like things like that. So that was kind of interesting. I could write about that, although I think I was pretty bitter about that at the time. So I don't know that I would have been able to tell a good story or show anything good about myself. Maybe just the fact that I was the youngest of 4 kids. I had 3 big brothers that were 7, 9, and 11 years older than I was. The fact that my family had lived in the same area, the same land, really, for 3 generations is kind of interesting. My great-grandfather had owned the land that then became my grandfather's home, and then my father built a home next door. So that was kind of interesting. So these are all some things that are kind of unique to me, that may have been good ideas for me back then. What are some of your topics? Pause the video right now and spend some time. Every idea is a good idea right now, you guys. Jot down 5 things that are unique to you. Okay, moving on to number 2. List any glitches that appear in your application. Transcript, teacher recs, SAT, ACT scores, extracurricular activities, lack thereof. Would any of that information mislead the admissions officers? Is one semester far worse than the others? If there's a good explanation, you could write about it. And I've had students do this with actually a lot of success over the years. And so maybe they had something really tragic happen in one of their semesters of school, or last year's uprising after the George Floyd murder. It would be something else that you could potentially write about, especially if it affected things like your grades. And so things like that. Another thing to think about would be like if you don't have a lot of extracurriculars or like jobs or things like that because you're at home taking care of the family. I know a lot of you take care of brothers and sisters. That is not actually a common thing for college students. You know, a lot of college students are, you know, didn't have to do that, weren't sort of expected to take care of siblings. And so that could actually be a good topic. Or something about, yeah, I guess that's all I have to say for 2. Okay, any glitches? List them now. All right, number 3 is think of a story that exemplifies one of your best traits. Now, 3 is broken up into a lot of different sections, okay? We've got A first, and then B is part of the same row, and then C. So if you look at A, it's first, list 10 adjectives to the right that best describe who you are. Use the list of adjectives in Schoology. So this is a list of adjectives, and there's a link in Schoology. And I just want you to actually find 10 that best describe you. Do it right now. Okay, did you find 10 adjectives that describe you, that best describe you? B is to actually delete 4. Okay, so delete 4. Of those left, which 3 best describe you? Okay, so take off 4 that don't describe you as much as the other 6, and then of the 6 left, find the 3 that best describe you. Pause and do that now. All right, now moving on to C. Now that you have your 3 best adjectives, think of a story that describe or that you could tell that shows that adjective. So for me, one might be passionate. I'm passionate. Maybe you can tell. A lot of English teachers are. We get really jazzed up about things. And so I could tell a story about how I was passionate about something. Maybe when I was a little girl, I was so excited to watch a princess get married. Princess Di was getting married in, I don't know, 1980 or something. I was a little girl and I stayed up all night. Because it was on, I think, very early in the morning, and I wanted to watch it. And of course, that was the only way to watch it without the internet. And so even as a little girl, I was able to do that because I was so excited and passionate about seeing this princess. Now, I don't know if that'd be a good story to tell for a college application essay, but right now, all stories are good stories, right? Okay, try it. 3 adjectives, 3 stories. Oh, no. 3 adjectives, 6 stories. Try. Pause it now. Letter D, try writing 3 of the stories briefly to the right. Pause it and try writing these stories out. All right, number 4 is list and free write. A, list the 3 people who have influenced you the most. I would probably say my 12th grade English teacher, and probably my mom and my dad. List at least 2 places that have moved you emotionally is the next one. England really affected me when I went to England and Scotland. I also went to the 9/11 memorial a couple years ago, and that was very moving. List 3 experiences that challenged you is the next. List 3 of your biggest successes so far. List 3 of your worst failures. How about what is the most embarrassing thing that has ever happened to you? What's a terrible thing that has happened to you. And the last one, 3 major goals, 5 small ones. Good luck as you finish.